I've done the same thing in JavaScript. You're like, if char numcars greater than 32, add class large, it's that sort
Yeah.
of thing. And it was cool, but it never felt right. It never
So
felt
it's like the less
like,
characters, the bigger the text, the more characters, the smaller the text. That's what we're trying to do here, right? Yeah.
yeah. Yeah. And that's the trick is inverse sizing. Like with fit text, I figured out linear scaling, like how to make it scale with the parent width, like
Sure.
you are scaling based on the space available, right? But oftentimes that's not what you want. What you want is if you have very long text, if you are like me and you write a small novel for your page titles, you actually want that to take up less space, but still have like hierarchy in the system.
Yeah.
You want this long text to like shrink to an appropriate size based on how many characters are in there. You have to measure the text. Like there's no CSS text length or whatever. So
Yeah.
that's
Or
unfortunate.
HTML. Yeah. At some point, you got to count
Yeah.
them.
So you have to
Could
at
do it
some point
server
in your
side,
system.
though.
I do it in my template, my Jekyll template, but you can do it in a very quick JavaScript loop, like query selector all H1 data numcars or H1 data set numcars equals text content dot length. Yeah. Pretty simple to do from getting that length. But the trick was that never worked until the adder upgrades because we talked about it, I think last week on the show.
Sure, you could set data number chars equals 88, but 88 is a string and not useful in CSS.
Yeah, so it's going to try to like if you try to put that in some math, it's going to be like 95
Yeah.
divided by string,
String,
and it
yeah,
just craps out.
useless.
And CSS does nothing, kind of like what I was saying earlier. What's cool is now you can typecast it and say that's a number now.